Good evening, this is your AI host, J. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, evening headlines on September 28, 2023. Ukraine repels Russian attacks as Putin's forces try to recapture territory lost in counteroffensive. The Independent, Ukraine strikes deep inside Crimea, cuts through Surovikin line. Al Jazeera English. In a single failed assault, the Ukrainians lost 3 of their new Polish fighting vehicles. Forbes. Ukrainian soldiers gather to pay tribute to Andriy Grinchenko, Ukraine crisis. India Today. Russia-Ukraine war. List of key events, day 582. Vietnam jails leading climate activist Hoang Thi Minh Hong for tax evasion. The Guardian. Vietnam jails 5th climate activist on tax charges. BBC. Prominent Vietnamese climate campaigner jailed for tax evasion. The Independent. Vietnam jails environmental activist for 3 years over tax fraud. Al Jazeera English. Vietnam. Climate activist sentenced to 3 years in prison. EU threatens sales bans to block use of Western parts in Russian drones. The Guardian. Russia's killer kamikaze drones made with European tech. Secret document exposes West. Hindustan Times. Western parts found in Russian drones, suggesting Putin is finding ways around sanctions. iNews. Russia-Ukraine war. Killed. Russian Black Sea Fleet commander seen on video again, as it happened. The Guardian. European components found in Iranian-made drones used by Russia to attack Ukraine. Trump branded Donald Duck, as Republican candidates call him a coward for dodging debate. The Independent. Chris Christie goads Donald Trump. I know you're watching. News, Independent TV. The Independent. Chris Christie. I did my job. I was the only one who went after Trump directly. MSNBC. Donald Trump called Donald Duck by Republican candidate in debate as ex-pres skips debate. Buzz. Musk ditches X's election integrity team ahead of key votes around world. The Guardian. X scraps tool to report electoral fake news, researchers. BBC. Elon Musk says X's election interference team are gone. Sky News. Twitter fires election integrity team ahead of 2024 elections. Rolling Stone. X, Twitter scraps feature letting users report misleading information. Germany backs new EU deal on migration in the face of opposition, Europe Live. The Guardian. Germany backs down on human rights demands in EU migration rules. Financial Times. EU ministers meet to seek compromise on sea migration. DW, English. Hopes up for EU deal on migration as Italy, Germany worry over increased arrivals. Reuters. Why Berlin can sway the balance on EU migration crisis rules. House Republicans holding first Biden impeachment hearing. BBC. Joe Biden impeachment process. Why are Republicans pursuing it? What evidence do they have? What happens next? Sky News. Republicans hold first Biden impeachment hearing as Gov shutdown looms. Teachers and students stabbed by teenager at Spanish school. Sky News. 3 teachers and students stabbed by teenager on knife rampage at Spanish school. The Independent. 14-year-old student stabs 5 people at Spanish school. Euronews. Hot-headed 14-year-old boy stabs 5 in Spanish school. NDTV. Teenager stabs teachers, pupil in Spanish school. Ukraine says Wagner fighters back on battlefield months after failed coup. The Independent. Pathetic remnants of Wagner return to fight in Ukraine. The Telegraph. Russia's Wagner troops are back on the battlefield, Ukraine says. Politico Europe. Wagner fighters return to Bakhmut after Prigozhin's death, CNN. The Moscow Times. Not against Ukraine, Russian deserters tell their story. Murdoch's Nepo baby, asteroid samples and a marathon record, take the Thursday quiz. 3 dead in Sweden after shootings and explosion linked to feud between criminal gangs. Sky News. Sweden reports highest number of monthly fatal shootings since records began. The Guardian. Send in troops to end violence in Sweden, ex-PM urges. Politico Europe. 3 killed in shootings and explosion in Sweden as deadly gang feud escalates. The Independent. 3 killed in shootings and explosion as gangs battle in Sweden. Haikun. Taiwan unveils new submarine to fend off China. BBC. Taiwan unveils first domestically made submarine as China increases pressure. France 24 English. Taiwan unveils its first homemade submarine. The Telegraph. Taiwan unveils first domestically made submarine to bolster defenses against China. Evening Standard. Taiwan unveils first locally built submarine in pushback against China. Nagorno-Karabakh state will cease to exist in January, says leader. BBC. Nagorno-Karabakh's breakaway government says it will dissolve itself. The Guardian. Nagorno-Karabakh Republic will cease to exist from January, says its leader. Financial Times. Nagorno-Karabakh live. 70,500 refugees have crossed into Armenia, Yerevan. Al Jazeera English. Nagorno-Karabakh will cease to exist within months. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.